Many of you have probably heard the term nurse practitioner before, but might not know exactly what that is. I'm currently a nursing major here at YSU, and once I get my RN, I really wanted to know all the different options that I had to choose from. Once I researched these options, I've decided to work toward my goal to become a nurse practitioner. In order for you to understand what a nurse practitioner is, we first have to know how to become one, all the aspects of their career and what their day-to-day life is like, and also many disadvantages and advantages of the career. In order to become a nurse practitioner, it takes many years of schooling, you must hold multiple degrees, and you must acquire many skills throughout your education in order to become a successful nurse practitioner. According to the NGH Institute of Health Professions, there's 3 different routes you can take in order to become a nurse practitioner. The first route is direct entry into a master's program. This is 6 semesters long. The first 3 semesters are focused on becoming a registered nurse. After those first 3 semesters, the student would take an NCLEX exam. This is a national board exam for anyone who wants to become a registered nurse. This gives them the license to do so. After those 3 semesters and after you take your NCLEX, then the last 3 semesters are focused on getting your master's degree. Once you graduate with your master's, you can become a nurse practitioner. The second route that you can take is a master's program for an RN. Those students would go through a 4-year program to receive their Bachelor of Science in Nursing, become an RN, take their NCLEX, and then go back to school if they want to further their education to receive their master's degree and to become a nurse practitioner. The third route that you can take would be your Doctor of Nursing practice for an RN. The same thing would happen for this. They go through their 4 years of school, become an RN, then go back to school to get their Doctor of Nursing practice, and then you could become a nurse practitioner. So you can be a nurse practitioner with your master's degree or with your Doctor of Nursing practice. Master's degree is much shorter to get than Doctor of Nursing practice, which takes an additional 4 years on top of your bachelor's degree. So you might be wondering, why would you get your Doctor of Nursing practice? There's actually a nationwide movement that says you have to hold your Doctor of Nursing practice in order to become a nurse practitioner. Along with the education, there's many skills that a nurse practitioner must acquire to be successful. A nurse practitioner must be a great critical thinker. They must also show leadership and responsibility, and they also must be compassionate towards their patients and their families. Now that we know how to become a nurse practitioner, now we're going to talk about the day-to-day life and what they do as they're working in the healthcare fields. As a nurse practitioner, your role could be very, very broad and very flexible until you narrow it down and become much more specific. There's many different groups of people that you can work with as a nurse practitioner. You can work with children, older adults and their families, acutely ill patients, and mentally ill patients. You can also work in a variety of different settings. You can work in a hospital, a physician's office, a long-term care facility, private home health services, a hospice facility, government or community setting, or private practice. You can also have a certain area of specialties as a nurse practitioner, so you would be considered a specialist. You can work in women's health, family and primary care, oncology, which would be cancer patients, acute care, geriatrics, pediatrics, and psychiatry. As a nurse practitioner, your day-to-day responsibilities generally would include diagnosing and treating diseases, treating medical problems, pre-existing. You can also interpret tests, perform minor surgical procedures, prescribe medications, and also provide counseling and education to the patients and their family members. Now that we know basically what a nurse practitioner does day to day, we can talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the career. One advantage to being a nurse practitioner is the salary. The national average salary for a nurse practitioner is $95,000. For Ohio, it's $92,000, and for Youngstown specifically, it's $91,000. A nurse practitioner also is going to be making many relationships throughout their career. These relationships are very positive and very beneficial. A nurse practitioner might make a relationship with their patient, with the patient's family members, and with the nurse practitioner's coworkers. The relationship with the patient is so important, and is a very healthy relationship because that patient is learning to trust the nurse practitioner, which forms a great bond and forms a healthy relationship. The same with the family of the patient. Your relationship with your coworkers is a very strong bond as well, because in a healthcare field, the level of competition really doesn't exist, because it's not whether a nurse is better than another. The main goal is to provide the best care for the patient. Since that's the main goal and competition really isn't an aspect in a healthcare field, all of the coworkers can see eye to eye, and you can just form very great, healthy relationships with your coworkers that will last a lifetime. Also, nurse practitioning is in high demand. So once you graduate, you're almost guaranteed a job. There is some disadvantages to being a nurse practitioner as well. One would be stress. A nurse practitioner is under a great deal of stress, mainly because they have to make such life-changing decisions on a day-to-day basis for their patient, which could be life-changing. It is important for a nurse practitioner to deal with that stress, so when they do make decisions, and if they're stressed and they're making decisions, it might not be the best decision for that patient. Another disadvantage is that nurse practitioners can write prescriptions. As of 2008, a nurse practitioner was able to write a prescription. This could be beneficial, but also is a disadvantage because it could lead to lawsuits in some cases in the future. Another disadvantage to being a nurse practitioner is the education process. It is very long and very time-consuming and very costly. But, however, if there is a registered nurse and she or he decides that they want to further their education to get their master's or doctor of nursing practice to become a nurse practitioner, sometimes the facility that you actually work at will pay for your education so you can obtain a higher degree. Therefore, there are many different resources for anyone who would ever want to become a nurse practitioner. It is very possible to do so. I hope that now you are more familiar with nurse practitioning, and maybe one day if you ever come in contact with a nurse practitioner, you can understand their role a little bit better. I hope you learned something new today, and thank you very much for your time.